Hey, Mr. Porter, I am dreaming of owning my own property that I can put a home on. Anything you can tell me that will help. Yeah, I get that constantly. People dreaming of owning their own piece of land that they can put a home on. If you're dreaming of owning your own property to put a home on, whether it be a humble little mobile home, or you're going to build an extravagant home, or something in between, but you've never bought land just to put a home on, let's talk about what you need to know and do to make the process a little bit easier and simpler for you. This is not an exhaustive list. Number one, know your budget. Just because you're buying a piece of land doesn't mean you need to throw budget and money to the wind. Go into it before you do anything else knowing about what you can afford and how you're going to go about paying for it. Do you already have the cash, or are you going to finance it? And if you're going to finance it, do you have enough cash to pay the down payment? You're going to have to pay 15 or 20% down on a piece of undeveloped property to get a lender to finance the rest. What's your budget? Do you have that figured out? Do that before you call anybody or start looking for anything. Number two, go look at the property. Do not do what so many people still are doing today. They will buy a piece of property sight unseen because of the internet. They think they can see everything they need to see. They think they can do everything they need to do just by talking to somebody on the phone or by looking at it online. Okay, you can do a lot, but go put your feet on the ground on that property before you commit to anything. Number three, does that property have legal access? If it doesn't touch a public road, or does the property itself actually front or touch a public road? You've got to have deeded access if you're going to put a home on a property for a number of reasons. The main thing is you've got to have a 911 address. And before you can get a 911 address, you've got to have access to that property, a legal deeded access, or it needs to already touch a public road. You need a 911 address because you need to get utilities. And without a 911 address, you can't get utilities. Without utilities, you can't get permits. And so it's all connected. Now, if you're doing something off grid, hey, that doesn't really apply to you. You're kind of doing your own thing, your own way anyway. You follow your own little checklist. But for your average person, they're going to want utilities. They're going to want normal services. You got to have deeded access so you can get a 911 address. Number four, utility. Double check. Can you get those services to the property that you're interested in? Just because there's water nearby doesn't mean that water company is going to run or extend a line down to your property. They may do it, but they may want to use your new build as an opportunity for them to improve their infrastructure. Seen that a number of times. Yeah, we'll run water down there, but we want you to put in a new 6-inch line to handle all of the new services that we put in on that road. Go to the local water company, call the electric company. Can you get utilities to this particular piece of property, and get that clearly understood before you move forward. Number five, does the property perk? What in the heck is perk? Well, perk is short for a percolation test that has to do with a septic system. Now, if you're buying a piece of property where there's already existing municipal sewage in place and you'll be able to connect to that sewage system, then the percolation test is irrelevant to you. However, if you're in an area, a lot of rural areas that do not have existing sewage in place, you're going to need a septic system. And to have a septic system, you need to make sure that your ground will perk, meaning the ground itself will absorb a certain amount of water within a certain amount of time. And the only way to know that is to have the test done. You would make sure that one of the contingencies in your contract is if the ground passes percolation test or is suitable for septic system. Just call the local health department. They'll guide you on what you need to know and do to have a septic system installed for the property that you're interested in. Hey, number six, are there any existing easements or servitudes or reservations on your property that are going to impact you? Are there any reservations on the property? Meaning, if you're buying a piece of timber ground that you're going to have partially cleared to put a home site on, does somebody already own that timber? Is that timber reserved from or by a previous owner? So double check to make sure there are no servitudes or easement reservations on that piece of ground that's going to drastically impact what you want to do. Now, I'm not saying there should be none. There could be some servitudes or easements in place that really aren't going to affect you in any negative way, and you can live with that. There may be some reservations in place that aren't going to really have an impact on you, but some of them could have a big impact. So you need to know that, understand that. You can have that checked out because all of those things will be of public record on the title to that piece of property. It's worth spending a little bit of money to have peace of mind knowing what is the existing status of that ground in terms of servitudes and easements, and those are the same thing, just depending on what state you're in, and any particular reservation. At number 7, are there any deed restrictions that are going to limit what you can do on the property or the type of home you can have? These deed restrictions and covenants can insist that only certain types of homes can be built and others excluded. For instance, it may require a site-built home of 2,500 square feet or more, and you were thinking, well, I was just going to have a 1,900 square foot modular home put on it. Well, the deed restrictions prohibit that, so you can't do it. So you need to know what you can do on the property. There are going to be a lot of times where previous owners have put deed restrictions that preclude any livestock on the property, any type of commercial enterprise on the property, anything like have some horse, raise some cows. Maybe your kids like goats and chickens. You need to check it out to make sure the ground you're buying doesn't prohibit that. You say, Pat, I don't like that. It's my land. I do whatever I want. Okay, but you're buying this piece of ground that has these restrictions. So if these don't suit you, you need to go find something else. Hey, what about school zones? Just because a piece of property looks like it may go to XYZ school, school zones and districts are carved out in odd ways because they usually use existing roads as their boundary. It's not always based on just proximity. The way to confirm if this piece of property is in a certain school zone, and that's important to you, is for you to pick up the phone, call that school district, tell them where the property is, and ask them, is this in your school district or not? Does it fit your lifestyle? Now, you may find a piece of property and you get there and it's 37 acres of the most beautiful, gorgeous property you've ever seen in your life. I mean, all of your dreams and imaginations are just bubbling to the surface. It's wonderful. It's great. It's secluded. It's private. It's beautiful. I mean, even the air smells better. But is it located in an area that's suitable to your lifestyle? You're out in a remote location and you need to get to the emergency room, or you need urgent care because your toddler has an ear infection, or you need to make a run to the store to get some eggs and milk. And these conveniences, getting to church, getting to a friend's house, an elderly parent, in terms of being able to get to efficiently and quickly and timely, that property might not be right for you. It may be gorgeous and beautiful in every other way. If you can't get little Johnny to karate lessons 3 days a week because it's an hour-and-a-half drive now, you thought was a dream come true, is really become a burden to you. So property has got to fit your lifestyle. If you want more information about finding land that's right for you, here's some more videos right here. Some of them will help you. Check them out.